my English lips saying German names is always fun. I hear it in my head. It never comes out the way I hear it.
You're doing great.
It's like Daniel's amp company, Uwe Mario. Hey there, I'm Dan, the self-proclaimed Lonely Rocker. Thank you so much for joining me today. So this past summer, I was in Germany for Henning Pauli's 42 Gear Street 6. That's a place where a YouTuber's dreams are made, and the proof is right here. I got to meet Mario from Tube Workshop and Uwe Lulis, the guitar player from Accept, who collaborated with Mario on this awesome JCM800 style amplifier with a lot more. Now we're going to get to an interview that I did with the two of them this past summer, talking about what I think is the birth of a legend. But before we get to that, I want to talk about a couple of the sponsors of 42 Gear Street 6. Summer Cable, some awesomely nice people. They make some high quality cables like this very fashionable patch cable, speaker cables, microphone cables, all connecting my studio now. So I want to thank Summer Cable for all of their support. And Sweetwater, I'm already a Sweetwater affiliate. I have links in the description if you want to check out what Sweetwater's got going on this week. Those are affiliate links if you want to help out the channel. But a big thank you to Sweetwater for helping make relationships like this happen. Anyways, 42 Gear Street 6, the hashtag that will connect you to all of the content on YouTube, not just mine, but the other 24 YouTubers that were there. Some awesome content just like this. Anyways, I'm actually in the process as we speak, crafting a demo for this awesome amplifier, but I wanted to show you the interview that I did with Mario and Uwe this past summer, talking about this amplifier, how it came to be. So why don't we jump into that right now? A pleasure to have two special people here today. We've got Uwe from Accept.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And Mario from Tube Workshop.
Hi.
Who has some very special products here. Now, we're not going to go too down the rabbit hole in the history of music and stuff like that, but this is all about the music. And my age bracket, because as you can see, I'm not one of the typical dropped A flat chugger dudes here, because that's not me. I grew up in the 80s. And I resisted all
the right tune.
Yeah, right. The right tuning.
Yeah.
I resisted all the hair metal and the new wave. In fact, there's a part of my life that I called the Great Divide. Early 80s, when British new wave started to take hold. I had a bunch of friends, and we were all into Rush and Sabbath and Zeppelin. And all of a sudden,
came out with Iron Maiden and the Killers and stuff.
Yeah. So, but all of a sudden, at 1 year, half of our group, where their hair was here, fell over here. And those guys went that way, and we went that way. And we reconvened, because guess what? A lot of them came back to some good rock and roll, and I was very proud for that. So, Accept back, I know, predated you a little bit, but you're keeping the torch alive in Accept. But I remember when Balls to the Wall came out, I was like Judas Priest and Accept, and I remember that video. It's burned in my brain.
Dude, I was 15 at this time, and I saw the guys at the early days 10 times. I was so huge fan of the whole band, you know. It's an honor to play in there.
Very quickly, how did you make? And I know a bit of your history too, so I don't want to go too far in this interview. But what got you into this chapter of the band?
Oh, basically, a friend of mine, he was drum tech at this time for Accept in 2012, 2013, and he asked me for festivals, hey, can you do some stage management and guitar tech for Accept and Sabaton, both bands he's working. I said, dude, yeah, now I'm a musician, not a, but yeah, okay, I can do it, but just the festivals, and then I'm off. 2 years later, the guys asked me to join the band. I mean, that's the rest is history. I mean, 10 years now.
And now 10 years later.
10 years later. And now 10 years later, yeah.
And 10 years later now, we're talking about a pretty amazing amplifier, which is why Mario is here. And
yes, that's true.
I've played about 3 of the amps now, and the one we just played, I was in studio with my good friend John Simons from Sonic Drive Studio, another great YouTuber. You met him today. Sadly, he's back on a train. But why don't you introduce the amplifier for us, and then we're going to talk about sort of where that came from.
Okay, I mean, there's a long story to it, but we'll do this short story today.
Right.
The short story is Uwe came to my booth at Guitar Summit 22, right?
Yeah, it's 3 years ago, yeah.
And we talked. Before you were in Accept, you were in Gravedigger.
Gravedigger.
And you had your signature sound in Gravedigger.
Right.
And Uwe told me, so Mario, you know, I have my signature sound, and then I tried a lot of different amps and so on. I want my sound back. Can we do something about it? And so we started talking about, hey, how does your sound work? What is it based on? Our Marshall JCM800, but perhaps a bit modified. And we definitely need that Boss OD1 we put in front. And we started off with a prototype that you found in the shelf.
Yeah, it was in the shelf. It says, it was a little note, it said JCM, JTM. I said, what is this? Oh, she said, you know, this 5 years ago, I built this amp. It was based on the JCM800. I said, oh, come on, turn it on. I need to hear it. Yeah. But then
Yeah, and you played it like for 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
And it was, okay, I want that. And first I thought, okay, so I can build you one for your studio, but let's talk about your signature amp. And yeah, but from that point it kind of evolved that we made the whole concept around this amp. And for me personally, the magic moment was when you said, okay, now let's put the Boss OD1 in front, because Uwe told me my sound is just listen to the truth from Gravedigger,
Yeah.
Tunes of War album.
Tunes of War album, yeah, right. And I have my old JCM800 with this old OD1, what I brought from the 80s, and I brought it to a shop, you know.
And so we had my prototype, and we put that OD1 in front, and we switched it on.
Go.
And I was like, okay, there it is.
There it is.
There is your sound.
And then the real work began.
And then the real work began.
So what was the first thing? So now this amp is on the rails now. Okay, so do you remember, maybe not the first thing, or some of the first things, okay, we're getting there now, but what was the first thing you noticed that maybe it was missing that you wanted to convey to him? Like some sort of the
Well, it's about the mid-range. I mean,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
all my albums that have this golden mid-range, you know, my guitar sound, you know, Les Paul through Marshall, you know, and just war. And all the, as you remember, all the old JCM eras that didn't have that. I mean, the whole, you know, equalization on this amps were
They didn't
not
finish.
good. You know.
They were vanity knobs.
Yeah.
The guitar player was bored, he could play.
Yeah.
And then we did our, you know, recordings, and then we came out from the mastering studio, and this guy in the mastering, he put all these golden mids in the whole production, and then this guitar sound came up. We said, okay, that's the sound I want, you know. And he made it. I mean, I gave him a lot of sweat on his skin, you know, because
And then throughout the whole process, there's so many details. So,
yeah.
I mean, you come from stage, you do international touring, you know what works and what doesn't work, which was very interesting, but also exhausting for me. So he came up with ideas like, we need a splitted amp B out, and I was like, really? Do we need that? You can put a splitter in front. No, I don't put a splitter in front. I don't want 3 additional cables on a box that can break and not work.
Yeah.
And so it was going like back and forth.
I was talking about changeovers, you know. You
Yeah.
have to sound check and then, you know, come on stage and intro is running and fuck.
No,
Nothing's watching you.
I want that in my amp. Okay, so let's do it in your amp. 1 week later, like, oh, I have a new idea. Really? So it was a process, but it was fun. But it was like, beating each other to get the best result.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Be honest, okay? Because I'm a musician too. I'm also a producer or manufacturer of videos. I have to make things. Language is a very important thing. Now, as musicians, because I am one, I can say this. Musicians are not always the best communicators. Was he very clear in what he wanted, or did he have certain phrases, or I need some more clankety clank, or whatever it was? Like, was it clear? Translating what was in his head or what his ears were hearing? How easy was it to translate that to what you could, to help you understand what to
Actually, for me, it was very easy. I think language was never a topic, because I'm also a musician. So I know when you talk about how it feels on playing the guitar, I'm a guitarist myself. I can
A
understand
good guitar
that.
player, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
And
I see
on
that.
the other hand, you also run a studio and are a producer, and I also did a lot of like sound engineering. So we were talking kind of same language.
Same language, and it was complete teamwork.
Yeah.
I mean, it was never a fight, but
Yeah.
hey, can we do this and this?
So we never had discussions like the artist saying, I want to have the sound more green.
Yeah.
And
A little rubbery on the top, a bit of a woof over here.
When all the stars align and
Some amp reviews are, that's another topic.
no, so as Uwe is also a great sound engineer and producer who runs his own studio, he was very precise in what he wanted. So when talking about mid-range, we really thought, we're now at that frequency, perhaps let's move it to that frequency. And so.
So it was at this point that my camera decided to crap out, but thankfully the camera that was capturing the interview with my 2 guests is very much intact. So we're going to continue on. Now, we got into conversations about modern day thinking in terms of real amplifiers versus modelers. Is it a war? Is it not a war? Young players who've never tried amplifiers was curious about their thoughts. So let's continue the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you have 4 different modes. If you want a JTM, JCM, you have a fantastic clean sound out of this. You have a really good distortion, and you have this golden mid-range what you can work with, and that's all I need for the basic sound. I mean, you're a studio guy too. You know how it works in the studio. Turn off the camper and do the alternate sounds. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Because I get into doing videos, doing amp reviews or demonstrations, and
Yeah.
you'll never appeal to everyone because everyone has an opinion. I'm a believer that an amp is a tool, and the tool is meant to present the guitar in context of the mix.
Absolute, yeah.
And people want to be like, well, I want to hear it solo. I want to hear what it does. But I have settings where I just crank the treble all the way up because it roll off the bottom end, so it sits in the mix properly.
Yeah.
But if I was demoing the amp in the store, I probably wouldn't show it to you like that, right? So,
Right, yeah.
So it's a different usage, I would say, in the studio than if you're on stage. I mean, are you adjusting depending on the venue, studio versus the stage?
Yeah, man. Except we are using campers, of course, because we are touring worldwide and we need our same sound every night. We have this in-ear monitoring, and the whole system relays on the time code for the light.
Yeah.
And the campers are switched by MIDI stuff. That we don't have even boards on the stage. We just the guitar and play and every switching. And you can do
profiles that you created for live.
Yeah.
Are these
Yeah.
tailored for you live?
These are the Lulis amp, of course. Yeah. Yeah. From my side, I mean, if you watch the Wacken show, for example, now what we did already, it's my sound. It's a Lulis sound on the camper profile. We had this the other night.
Yeah.
He went to my studio and we made the A/B thing between my profile, and it's a difference. It's a real difference. I mean, I would never track my tracks with a camper. I always use my amp with the microphone on that and stuff because it sounds different. It just feels different and it sounds better in my opinion. But camper, it's great too. I mean, for touring and always have the same sound and stuff. The main problem is we had this the other night. I mean, it's a computer, and if you're playing fast, for example, it starts to get blurring. It's not precise. Latency is coming in, and in my studio I have a huge analog board, microphone, amp, cabinet, and you don't have any latency. And the customers was coming in, when they used to play with these campers and quad cortex, they have problems playing with a real amp because they play way up front because they learn to play with the latency. And I don't want this. This is not my thing. Yeah, the attitude is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there will be a time when you put this kit in a room with a modeler and a real amp and say, play both. So this kid will play the real amp for the first time live, and he or she will be like, "Whoa, what's that?"
I mean, I have that in the studio when guys coming in and doing recordings with my stuff. I say, "Oh, what the fuck? What's going on here?"
I mean,
wow. And then they get the next track and make it in stereo, left, right, and say, "Wow." There's not even EQ on this; just a pure amp on the microphone and the track. In Pro Tools.
for me, I don't see a war there.
No, it's not.
Because all the modeling, profiling things, they are great tools for daily use. As you on world tours, it's just it fits your needs on touring, right? And it also in terms of sound, technology, price, it got affordable. It's cool for the young guitarist.
Yeah, I mean,
but always everybody who knows both worlds, real amps and modeling and profiling, agrees on the fact if you put a guitar player in a room and let him play both, always the real amp will win. Yeah. Because it's more direct. It feels better when you play it.
I mean, you're moving air, that's
and so on. And also, I don't see that war. I see more of a coexistence because I always say, as a manufacturer of tube amps, if I wouldn't do new tube amps, what would you be profiling tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, you have the same in the recording scene, you know. 5 years ago, everybody, or 10 years ago, said, oh, analog boards are out, and you can, you know. I mean, even Yamaha told you, hey, if you buy a digital board, go with the bulldozer over your analog board, and you get this for half the price, you know. And now, try to get an analog board, you know. I'm trying to get an SSL since 2 years, and the prices are so high right now, and I don't want to pay that, you know. But I have a huge one, you know.
So what my comment would be on that is to young players saying tube amps are dead and modeling rules the world. My comment would be just try both. Try it out. Play your modelers, try different modelers, try tube amps, try transistors, try everything. And after you tried everything and picked your favorite, and if it's still the modeler, then that's your thing.
That's
Then
your sound.
go with the modeler.
Yeah.
Be happy. But don't put out an opinion like things are dying or whatever without having tried it.
From Mario's mouth to the rock god's ears, I hope tube amps will be here for a long time. And I think it's going to be through the passion of boutique builders like Tube Workshop. They get to do things that some of the major brands don't get to do. And I think it's something that we should all try and experience. This is a high quality amplifier, and I'm having a lot of fun with it right now. And I can't wait to share the full demo with you. That will be coming up soon. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss that. But a big thank you to Uwe and Mario for spending time with me. I've got to know them well over the months that followed the show. We're in regular communication, and I'm just a big fan of both of them and love what they're doing. So look forward to covering more about this amplifier that's coming up really, really soon. Big thank you to Henning Pauly for including me this year at 42 Gear Street 6. There was a ton of great brands there, and I think they're all worth noting, so I'm going to list some of them right here for you. Like I mentioned, 42 Gear Street 6, the hashtag will connect you to all sorts of videos where you can see some great videos about all of the different brands that you're seeing here on the screen. And a big thank you to all of them for creating and helping create such an awesome event. And I look forward to hopefully attending next year. Anyways, if you have any thoughts or questions, that's what the comment section is for. But if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And while you're down there, while we are talking about the Lulis coming up, I am doing that full demo, but I did an unboxing. If this is in the future, I will replace this link right here with the full demo. But either way, there's going to be a Lulis video right there for you to check out if you want to check it out. And remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll, and I'll catch you in the next one.